Today, we're making Dan Dan Mian, that iconic dish from the Sichuan province of China. Noodles, pork, spice. Does it get any better, you ask? It sure does, because Lan's here and she's going to show us how to make it at home.
Bridget, this is one of my favorite noodle dishes. Every bite is a little different. You never get bored. Let's get started with the sauce. I've got a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil and I'm adding it to a 12-inch nonstick skillet. If you've got a 14-inch flat bottom wok, that'd be great for this too. To this oil, I'm adding a tablespoon of Sichuan chili powder. Don't worry, it's a chili powder with a moderate heat. It's a little funky, a little fruity. Next up, I have 2 teaspoons of finely ground Sichuan peppercorn.
Okay.
These 2 ingredients combine to create one of the iconic flavors of Sichuan cooking. It's called ma la, and that translates to numbing heat. The Sichuan peppercorns have an oil that causes your tongue to tingle, and the chili peppers are just nice and spicy. Last up, to just kind of round out all the flavors, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. To infuse all of these flavors into that oil, I'm going to set this burner to low.
Okay.
And give this a quick stir. And this is just going to hang out at low, doing its thing for 10 minutes.
Okay.
You could make this go faster, but to do so, you'd have to increase the heat, and that drives away a lot of the volatile compounds that bring complexity to this dish.
That smells incredible.
Right. So much has happened in just 10 minutes. It's aromatic. That oil is vibrantly red. I will transfer this to a bowl. I'm going to reuse this skillet, so I want to get all the spices out, but I'm not going to stress like a little bit of oil in here. To wrap up our sauce, I've got 4 little ingredients. First up, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. This is pretty much the salt for the dish. Next, 2 teaspoons of Chinese black vinegar. It's got a soft acidity. It's a little bit fruity, really fantastic.
It is worth seeking out.
Yeah. Next, this ingredient is pretty cool. It's a sweet wheat paste, and it's not actually sweet. It's more of an umami bomb. It's made by fermenting wheat flour and salt, and it packs a punch in the best way. So that's 2 teaspoons of the sweet wheat paste.
Okay.
And last up, Chinese sesame paste. It's kind of like tahini, except it's made from toasted sesame seeds, so it's darker in color, a little bit nuttier tasting.
It has a really deep, rich taste. Oh, so good.
And that was 1½ teaspoons. I'll just give this a quick whisk and set this aside while we move to the next step.
Sounds good.
All right, Bridget, we are moving on to the pork topping.
Love this part.
It's so good. During testing, one of my colleagues referred to it as pork panko.
That's really good because it gets super crisp.
Yes. I have 8 ounces of ground pork here, and I'm going to flavor this with 2 teaspoons of Shaoxing wine and 1 teaspoon of soy sauce.
Okay.
I'm just going to get in here with my hands and give it a good toss. All I'm looking for is to make sure the pork is as evenly seasoned as possible.
Okay.
That's it's looking pretty great. I'm going to go wash my hands.
Okay.
I've got 2 teaspoons of oil here. Do you mind bringing it to a shimmer over medium-high heat?
I will do that.
Thank you. Bridget, you nailed it. It's a gorgeous shimmer.
You know, I do what I can.
Now I'm adding our pork. What I'm going to do is a little bit different. I'm going to smear it into the bottom of the pan and create one nice, flat, even layer. Our goal here is to make tiny, tiny bits of pork that can cling to the noodles when we go to eat this. And now that it's flattened, I'm going to use the side of my spat to break the meat up into little clumps. I'm looking for 1/4 inch pieces. It's just a lot of mashing and cutting with the spatula. It takes about 5 minutes to get this pork broken up and nicely browned.
Okay.
This is looking pretty good. It's starting to pick up some color. The pieces are broken up. All that sizzling and popping means it's kind of drying out a little bit, which is actually what we want. This pork is here to add texture. I'm just going to push this off to the side, make some space, and we're going to get our aromatics in. I've got a teaspoon of vegetable oil, 3 minced garlic cloves, and 2 teaspoons of grated ginger. And I'm just going to mash this around in the pan, cook it till it starts to brown.
All right.
This is looking pretty great. I'm going to stir this into the pork.
Oh my gosh.
And we'll set this aside and finish this just before we assemble the bowls. All right, bok choy's next. I've got 2 smallish heads of baby bok choy. These are about 3 ounces each. I am just going to trim the bottom from this and let the outer leaves kind of fall away.
Oh, they are so tender already.
Yeah.
I love bok choy. The little baby bok choy. Oh my gosh.
So tasty. And this core, I'm just gonna split in half lengthwise and repeat with the second one. Now, people sleep on the bok choy because it's not kind of as intense as the sauce or the pork, but the bok choy makes a great palate cleanser in between bites. I love it. How many dishes take care of you like that?
That's true.
So I'm gonna give this a quick rinse
Okay.
just to make sure any grit in here goes away. I've got 4 quarts of water here, and I'm not gonna season this water at all. We've got enough salt going on with the dish. I'm just gonna pop this bok choy right in, and I'm just looking for it to kind of develop that jade green color. Usually a minute will do it.
Okay.
What do you think? Nice and vibrant.
That looks beautiful.
So while we have our water going, I'm gonna use this to cook our noodles as well. I've got Chinese wheat noodles. They're really simple, nice and chewy in texture, and they're going right in. I'm gonna give them a quick stir so that they don't cook themselves into one giant mass. This is a pound of Chinese wheat noodles. Now, if you can't find Chinese wheat noodles, you can sub other fresh noodles like ramen or lo mein or even dried lo mein. It's probably gonna take about 4 minutes.
Okay.
These are looking perfect, just cooked through. So we're gonna drain these noodles, and before we walk away, I wanna make sure that I give them a good rinse. There's a lot of starch on the exterior, and if we left that in place, the starches would glue the noodles together, which would make eating really tricky. So just wanna give this a nice toss, maybe a couple stirs.
It's hard for me to tell because of the steam, but that's hot water, right?
It is warm water, yes. And this takes about a minute, really.
Okay.
Bridget, we're just minutes away from eating. I'm so excited.
Assembly time.
Yes, so we're gonna reheat our topping over medium heat, and I'm gonna add one last ingredient. It's kind of the secret ingredient, so worth seeking out. This is called yatsai, and it is a Sichuan pickle. It's made by salting and fermenting a Chinese mustard plant, and it is funky, salty, savory, a little bit of heat to it. It's fantastic. This is 1/3 of a cup of that yatsai. We're just gonna warm this through. It takes about 2 minutes. Do you mind keeping an eye on this while I start building our bowls?
You have so much trust in me.
That sauce we made earlier that's packed full of flavor, we only need a little bit of it. I'm just gonna give it a quick stir. It's pretty normal for some of the oil to break out. And a quick spoonful, or maybe 2, in the bottom of our bowl. Next up, the noodles. They're not clumping together like mad, which is fantastic. Now I'm adding our pork. Quick spoonful right on top. Maybe a little bit more.
Yes, please.
And then don't forget the bok choy. I like to kind of arrange a couple of the leaves on the side. The color just pops.
Beautiful.
And last up, just a little sprinkling of scallions.
The fragrance, the aroma. There's a lot going on in this bowl.
Yeah.
And it's a work of art.
It's beautiful, and you get to destroy it, which I find fun. I like to get the noodles nicely coated in that sauce before I dig in.
All right. This is so dangerous. Yeah. Usually I have a bib at this point. I'm gonna need a moment.
There's a lot going on. A little bit of heat, it's savory, it's salty, it's funky. Your tongue's vibrating a little bit.
I'm loving that bit of warmth in there too. Oh, it's like Lady and the Tramp, but way better. It's a gift that keeps on giving with every single bite.
Yeah. And if it ever does get overwhelming, a little bit of bok choy to reset.
I do see a problem with this recipe though.
What's that?
This bowl is not big enough.
You know, I agree. I'm sorry, I'll do better.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to that. But for now, this is excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lan. So if you want to make this beautiful dish at home, build a sauce with Sichuan chili powder and peppercorns. Cook marinated pork until brown and crisp. Briefly cook bok choy and then wheat noodles. And finish with yatsai. So from America's Test Kitchen, a tongue-warming and soul-warming Dan Dan Mian.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.